Welcome back to another video on the Matthew channel. This video will be quite different than anything I've ever done, even on my main channel. Today I will be talking about a few things that I learned during the early game of Scrap Mechanic Survival. If anyone didn't know, Scrap Mechanic is a construction game by Axolot Games, where you can build cars, planes, rockets, anything you like really. And a few days ago it got a huge update where survival mode was introduced. Now, before we go ahead and jump into the video, I have one little disclaimer. The update has only been out for 2 days at the time of recording this, so if you're watching this in the future, it may already be different. And also, this is not a guide, but a few little tips. It is not my intention to explain the whole game to you, because in my opinion that would make it boring. But I want to take you by the hand and save you some frustration. But without any further ado, let's start with number 1. Number 1. Woks. This is a wok. It sort of looks like a cow, but it's not. These should be your main food source for the first few hours of the game. You could technically scavenge your way through the early game or farm, but I don't recommend that at the start, because someone will not be happy about that. Use woks. They are almost everywhere, and if you give them some corn, which is also almost everywhere, they give you milk. Also, as they are quite slow, you could trap them pretty easily. Number 2. Loot chests. At the start of the game, you are presented with a broken down whatever it once was, and some loot chests. If you punch these with your hammer, you will get some useful items like food. In most games, when you pick up loot, you get the items and the chest you got them from is gone. But in Scrap Mechanic, these loot chests will respawn over time. There are also some other chests like this one that do not respawn. They are one-time use only, but these are pretty rare. Number 3. Items don't despawn. You should notice this yourself pretty quickly, but items that you throw on the ground do not despawn. So if you are on a looting spree and you must choose between 2 items because your inventory is full, don't be afraid to throw some stuff away. You can still get it later. But your inventory is pretty big, so during the first few hours you probably won't need to throw anything away. Number 4. Build a base near spawn. If you want to build a base, it's a pretty good idea to do it near spawn. Not only can you get many useful items from the loot chests, but there aren't many strong enemies here, hence you are also pretty safe. Aside from that, everything you will need is not very far away, so you do not have to travel very far and waste food or gas. There's one very good spot where you can build your base, and though I will not tell you where it is, I will tell you that it is near spawn and you will encounter it pretty early on. Number 5. Don't go exploring too far. Of course, exploring is very fun in survival games, but don't go too far too early. You don't need to explore much in the early game, and I would only encourage exploring if you have a solid food source and maybe build your first car. I made the mistake and went into an area which I was not supposed to be in, and then I was killed, and it cost me many tries and many hours to get my items back. This game is not very forgiving, so if you make a mistake it will let you know. Also, if you ever see this building and you don't have good weapons, and no, the hammer doesn't count as a good weapon, turn around and slowly step away. And if you're thinking, I'm not a noob, I'ma do it anyway, don't. Just don't. Number 6. Useful items and not so very useful items. There are quite a lot of items in the game, and some are more important than others. I will not tell you how important all of the items are, but I can tell you this. You won't need to farm circuit boards. They seem quite important, but you will get enough through just collecting them, so no need to farm them. They pile up a lot. But what I would encourage you to never leave behind are component kits. You will need them for many things. Number 7. Read item descriptions. When you are crafting something, there are little descriptions of the item that you are about to make. Always read them, and thoroughly. Oftentimes there is information in there you want to know. I was trying to make a machine which automatically picks up wood and then refines it, but it was not working as I thought. After a lot of time thinking and tinkering, I came up with a solution, which differed a lot from my original plan, but it worked as intended. Then, through sheer coincidence, I was reading the description of one of the machines involved, and there was the answer, which took me a good 2 hours to come up with. Number 8. Build a multifunctional car. This might come as a surprise to some of the people who have played survival games in which automation is possible, but in Scrap Mechanic, the automation is not stationary. Well, it can be stationary, but during the early game, you really don't have the resources to do so. But what you can do is build parts of the automation on a car. I won't tell you exactly what to do, but I will tell you what the car that I built can do, so that you can get some ideas. With my design, you can chop wood and mine stones and store these materials, and you can suck up and store water. It doesn't sound like much, but it saves a lot of time, so I would encourage you to do something similar as soon as you can. You will need a car for the transition into the mid to late game anyways, so why not build one early and save time? Number 9. If you need to fight, walk backwards. Fighting enemies happens very often in this game, and you can't really hide from them, so you need to be prepared to fight. I won't tell you what the enemies are, but I can tell you this. There are 3 main ones: small green ones, mediocre orange ones, and big red ones. The first 2 are pretty easy to kill with this trick. Walk backwards and fight them. They are quite fast, but since they need to stop walking to start an attack, you can outrun them even when walking backwards. Furthermore, your range is bigger than theirs and you can attack while walking unlike them. So you should be mostly fine when walking backwards. But there are also the big red ones. If you see them, turn around and run as fast as you can. They are faster than you, have a bigger range than you, can shoot poison, and they tank like a god. So just run. If fate still wants you dead and one of the red ones runs after you, you are pretty much dead. Your best bet is to run into the next lake, because they can't swim, and just walk slowly at the bottom of the lake. They will still follow you for quite a bit, but in the water you are faster, so you should have a half-decent chance of survival. Number 10. Play with a friend. Last but not least, play with a friend. There are many things you need to keep paying attention to, like food or materials or enemies. If you play with a friend, you won't need to pay attention to as many of things. For example, a friend of mine and I are playing the game together, and he's doing exploring and I'm in charge of the base. He can be away for a few days, but doesn't need to worry about finding the base in bad shape or the crops not growing. And I know progress is being made without getting myself killed or possibly not finding my way back to the base. Playing alone really makes me paranoid, because I need to worry about very many things at the same time, but if you are looking for a challenge, go ahead and play it by yourself. So guys, that was it for the 10 tips for Scrap Mechanic Survival, but before we wrap up this video, I want to say 2 things. First of all, I apologize for my bad accent. As many of you know, I'm from Germany, and my accent is very, 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 very apparent. I know it myself, and I'm trying to get rid of it as much as I can, and I think I'm succeeding. I mean, if you could hear some of the accents my classmates have in English class, it's ridiculous, okay? But still, this is bad. And I know it's bad, and I've been cringing for like the whole video. As I've been recording this, I've been cringing the whole time. And besides that, this video was scripted, as you might have noticed. And I am bad, very, very bad at writing scripts, as you may have noticed. So, yeah, this video is kind of bad, but, yeah. First of all, my accent, and second of all, the writing scripts and all. Like, I'm sorry what this has become, and I'm gonna try to make it better, but, yeah, I can just talk better without having a script to read off of. To need to read off of, yes. Yeah, so I hope you still liked the video. If you did, leave a like. How inventive. subscribe if you want to see more of this shit. And yeah, I hope I help you with this video, with these 10 tricks. See you in the next one. Till then, bye.